Slovakia is home to one of Europe's most adventurous national parks. This place is a hiker's dream. It's home to countless trails leading to insanely high, rugged peaks, and hosts incredible natural beauty. A few years ago, a younger and less experienced me got my first taste of the high Tatra mountains on a trip to Poland. And to say they blew me away would be an understatement. After this trip, I was left wanting more of these mountains. So I've come back to this iconic mountain range to explore it in more depth and truly try to experience the beauty of this place. I'll be attempting to summit some of the most famous peaks and trying to find the absolute best viewpoints in the whole mountain range. So stick around and see what the Slovakian mountains have to offer. Good morning from the Tatra mountains here in Slovakia. It's a beautiful crisp morning. I've just left my mountain hut for the night and it's about 7 in the morning, headed up to Rysy Peak, which is one of the most famous peaks, if not the most famous peak in the whole of the mountain range. From here it says 3.5 hour hike to the top, so should get there with plenty of time. So let's just enjoy the mountain range and take in all the nature that Slovakia has to offer. And to be honest, I was feeling so happy to be back hiking in these mountains and exploring these rugged trails. Man, it is just so phenomenally beautiful here. It's awesome hiking up through this. It's just, the rocks are so enormous, so beautiful. And the trail's really fun to hike up as well. And the views were only getting better the higher I hiked. And it wasn't long before I reached one of the many beautiful lakes I would see on this trip. This lake is so peaceful and just so beautiful. The mountains are incredible to look at. But there's some clouds rolling in over the hills now, so hopefully they don't take away from this view. But yeah, about halfway to the top. So beautiful, yeah. At the moment, it's not looking good in terms of having nice views. Big old clouds are rolling in. And I'm looking up and there's clouds up there, so hopefully it rolls over. And by the time we get up, we've got some good views. And the clouds had rolled in just in time to make the hardest part of this trail just a little bit more difficult. And as I climbed up the metal ladders, the view that was so good just now was replaced by a complete whiteout. Luckily, the misery of the clouds was interrupted by the saviour of a mountain refuge, where I warmed myself up with a hot coffee and enjoyed a break from the cold. I then continued up the mountain, making absolute sure I wasn't wearing any high heels, before making the snow crossing and getting onto the ridge to make a push for the summit. It's pretty miserable conditions up here right now. No view, covered in clouds, really, really cold. Gotten freezing at the moment. Can't even see the peak, covered in clouds. But we're just hoping the sun's going to come out and reveal itself a bit later, and we'll have awesome views. But for the moment, suffering. I pushed through this bad weather and finally made it to Rysy Peak, where a lot of other hikers were enjoying their accomplishment, as well as somewhat of a view of the valley below. After waiting a while for the clouds to clear, I got way too cold and headed back down the mountain. And it seemed like it was just my luck, because as I was getting further down, the clouds seemed to be clearing even more. And so I decided to stop off at the mountain lake and enjoy the mountain views in the sun from there. I've made it back down to the lake and the sun has decided to come out and nearly all of the clouds have gone. You can see up behind me somewhere there is Rysy. I sat there for about 2 hours waiting, freezing cold up there, but I was waiting for the clouds to go and hopefully see the crazy views that I've heard of from up there. But unfortunately that wasn't the case. So I hiked down, took me about an hour and a half to get back down to this lake, and now the sun's come out. It's still a bit chilly, but it's lovely. And this lake is just so beautiful, so nice to just sit and relax and enjoy all the mountain views here. And after a few hours sat up at the lake, I slowly made my way back down to my mountain hut for the night, soaking up all the views I could. The next morning I set off to explore a lesser known trail that I had read of, following a river up through a canyon down a very unused path. You can tell this is not one of the most popular trails around here. A, because it's completely covered in grass and everything, and you can't really see much of the actual trail itself, which just shows that not many people come up here. But also it's got an actual river running through it, which is quite funny. Literally hiking up a river. But yeah, hopefully it clears up a little bit further ahead, but who knows. This trail was so different than the day before. It was really like exploring through a tropical jungle, and it was nice to be all alone on the path too. What I've really liked about this trail so far is it just follows alongside the river, so it's really pleasant just having the sound of running water alongside it. Really nice. It's not so nice when the water comes onto the trail and you're walking up through a little extension of the river, but really nice, really pretty. The mountains were also full of flowers, which I thought was pretty cool, and as I continued along, the landscape was forever changing, and soon I was over the ridge and walking through an absolutely beautiful valley. Man, this is just one of the most epic valleys I've ever laid eyes on. I mean, you've got these massive dark peaks and boulders absolutely everywhere, matched with this green grass and this perfect stream running through it. My gosh, it is just incredible. I'm just gonna sit here for ages and admire it. Unbelievable. I mean, even with this bad weather, these peaks look insane and so beautiful, so rugged and wild here. I mean, this trail wasn't really marked at all, and I haven't seen anyone else today. I mean, which is just awesome. I have it all to myself and I could just enjoy these views without anyone bothering me. So whilst I was just sat here enjoying the view, I saw some people walking down, and they came over and said hi and said it's probably best I don't go up further because they showed me on their phone there's a massive storm coming in, and he said about an hour, even 45 minutes, it's going to roll in, there's going to be thunder, lightning and loads of rain. So I thought I don't want to be high up there in the mountains when all of that kicks off, so I'm going to chill in here for a bit longer, enjoy the view and then hightail it back down. From what you can see, it's a bright and sunny morning here in Slovakia. Beautiful weather today after last night's storm. The path is completely full of puddles and actual small rivers. So much rain happened last night. It was raining all last night. I was a bit worried that today it would be raining, but at the moment, blue skies, and let's just hope it stays that way. This national park just keeps on surprising me and just leaving me in complete awe of its beauty. so incredible. I mean, there's so many hikes you can do, and just all of them have these crazy views of the mountains. Finally made it to the lake. Got incredible views of the mountains around it. but I'm worried about the clouds coming. So I'm going to make a beeline for the peak, and then after up there, come back down and enjoy this lake. So let's keep going. This place actually has quite a lot of lakes, and they're all just so scenic with these dramatic, massive mountains behind me. I mean, the whole place is like one big bowl full of just scattered lakes around, and they're so blue, so crystal clear as well. Amazing.
It suddenly felt like I was in a different world, just completely surrounded by these extraordinary mountains. And as I hiked further up, it was like I was dreaming or something. I mean, these views are so special, and this last section of the trail is something I'll never forget. As I stood at the summits, I was overwhelmed by the beauty of these mountains, and just so grateful to have been able to visit such a majestic place. And after experiencing the summit for a while, the clouds came rolling back in, and it became very cold. So I headed down and enjoyed the beauty of the lake, before eventually making my way back down to my mountain hut. On my final day, I said farewell to my lovely mountain home and headed on one last hike through these mountains. And much like the day before, the conditions were perfect.
Today's ascent is pretty steep straight off the bat. I mean, you can see where we've come from down there by the lake. All the other days we've kind of like gradually gone up, and then right at the top zigzagged around, but this trail is going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, straight up the side of a mountain. Pretty steep, pretty tough, but yeah, enjoying these mountain views one last time before we go over the peak, and then that's it, end of the adventure in the Tatra mountains. For now, we'll be back there for sure.
I find something so peaceful about sitting in the mountains and looking out over the valleys and peaks. It reminds me of just how small I am in this world, and to be grateful for everything I am lucky enough to experience, these mountains being no exception. I soon hiked over the ridge, and my mountain view was replaced by a different kind of view.
This trail just has endless views now of the valley below and the mountains off in the distance. Really cool just walking along. Not really going up or down, just kind of flat along the side of the mountain. Checking out the views of Tatra and the other small villages down there where we'll be heading. Very cool, very nice. Just when I think I've seen all the beautiful places and most amazing peaks there are in this mountain range, and you stumble across something like this with incredibly massive mountains behind me and just this beautiful picturesque blue lake. Incredible. There's so many places in this mountain range. I think you could honestly spend months just exploring them all and hiking a different hike each day. It's so amazing.
Knowing I just scratched the surface of what this mountain range had to offer, I left feeling happy that I'd have to return in the future to see what else it holds and for more amazing adventures. Subscribe to join me on many more adventures around the world.